Hey, all right, so thanks for joining me. My name is Brian, and I just thought I'd show you how to throw in a toilet that's already been installed. I just finished painting these cabinets, and I needed to pull my toilet out in order to do it, and so I have a lot of people ask me questions about toilets. In fact, I just had one just 2 days ago ask me about this, so I thought I'd just throw a quick video together for this. One of the questions that he asked me first before we start was he was trying to tighten his toilet, the bolts down on the side of his toilet, and he's like, no matter how tight I tighten it, it wouldn't tighten down. And I told him what happens is this flange. So if you come around here and you look around your sewer pipe here, there's actually a metal flange that these bolts connect to. This is what your toilet bolts to. So he was thinking that maybe somehow the bolts came out of the floor, but they're really actually not attached to your floor. They're actually attached to these flanges. This is actually a flange that you would buy to repair if that very same thing happened. What happened at his house was this metal flange here actually corroded out. Over time, as the toilets leak, this metal ring starts to rust, and these bolts, they're no longer secure. They have nothing to even grab onto, and so they just break. So the fix is actually one of these metal flanges that you can get. I got this one at Lowe's. It was $8, and what it'll actually do is it'll just slide right down into place right over the pipe, and then over these 4 mounting holes, you would screw it. You could use this on concrete, you can use it on wood. If it's in wood, you would just use wood screws to lag that down to your floor like that. If it's in concrete, I would just use like a blue Tapcon screw and just use a hammer drill to pre-drill your hole, screw it down, and then you can securely mount your toilet with this flange. So really easy fix. Most people don't know about it. They're like $8. This is one style. There's also another style that is a 2-piece ring that bolts together that would attach to the pipe, similar to how the stock fitting does here. But the very first thing you've got to do when you're reinstalling your toilet is you've got to have your bolts in, and I always buy a second set of bolt kits with my wax ring because it just makes it easier. And one of the things I do is one of the reasons why I do that is because I like to actually bolt my screws to the flange itself like this. If you actually look at the way these kits come, they come with these just little plastic washers, and the way you're supposed to do it is just slide them on like that, and then you slide them into the flange, and then you would secure it by just pushing down with the plastic piece. Well, as you can see, that's about as tight as you can get it, and it stays wobbly. It's not very secure. So I actually take the bolt kit that you would normally bolt the toilet down with. I use that same bolt, and I bolt it to the flange. And the reason why I do that is when you're if you have both of your bolts for your toilet secured like this on both sides with that plastic washer, when you go to set that toilet down, these things love to move tip to the side, and the toilet's already bulky and awkward to even be carrying, and so anyway, I just take the same washer that you would use, the nut, just bolt it down like that. So if you look here, you can see I've already done this because this toilet was already reinstalled once when I just finished setting this tile not too long ago. So I've already got it secured down with the washers and everything like that. They're already down and they're ready to go. So the next thing to do, because this toilet was in before, was grab a new wax ring. There are some reusable wax ring products out there that are really nice. I'm just old school, and I like using the old wax rings. One thing that I always do, especially since this floor, it's a little bit elevated because it has tile on it, I like to use the wax rings with the flange. So you ask, what's the difference? This is a wax ring, has a little flange. This wax ring does not. So if you actually look at this product here, there's nothing on it. You see it's just the wax ring, and that's really the difference between the two. Obviously you can see the thickness is very different, and because this floor is so elevated and the way that this toilet mounts in, it's just a good idea to have this. Some people have asked me, how do you know which one to use? Well, what I do is I always start with a thicker one when I've tiled the floor like this so that I have the elevation that I need, and then I set the toilet down. If I can't feel the toilet actually press down into this wax ring, then I'll add a second one here. And just set that right on top. It doesn't need to have a flange, you can just set it right on top and the two will melt together and do what you need. So you just drop your wax ring down, press it into place like that. It's nice and seated, and that's all you've got to do, and then it's ready to go down. Now these bolts, as you can see, they're shorter than these. I've already cut them off to the length of my toilet, and I'll show you why we do that in just a moment. But we'll go ahead. I always, when I'm doing my remodels, I always stick my toilet in the shower. It just makes it easier. And I always take a piece of cardboard and set it in my shower before I do it. That way, any wax or residue or any other junk on the bottom of your toilet doesn't stick to the bottom of your shower. But if you want to have to scrape wax off later, all good. So anyway, you just grab your toilet, you lift it up, and now all you got to do is just line it up with those bolts. And it's seated real nice onto that wax ring, so I won't need a second one. You just feel it press down, and it just sinks, and I just barely rock the toilet back and forth until it seats onto that wax ring real nice. Now, had I used brand new bolts, you would actually see these sticking up out of the toilet, about that high. That obviously doesn't work when you go to put a cap on, right? It would be maxed out. So, once you tighten these up, I'll show you real quick what we do here. You just take your plastic ring there with your washer and your nut. You're going to tighten that on. And once you cut them, they can be a little awkward. I always cut it after I have the nut on because it makes it so much easier. You can see the struggle here. Okay, now it's on. You can either use a 17-inch box wrench or a little small crescent wrench. I don't like to use a big crescent wrench because they're always in tight spaces. I like this one from DeWalt. It's really nice. It's got a short handle on it, but if you're gonna use the box end wrench, just as easy. You tighten this thing all the way down. All the nuts I've ever used on any toilet kit, regardless of the manufacturer, has been 7/16 of an inch. And it goes down real easy. It's not hard. There's no resistance. Just going to tighten it down. And then I'll do the same thing to the other side, which I'm not going to show you now. And then you just take the little caps that everyone knows of, that everyone has to clean around, and just pop them on. Now, like I was saying earlier, if you're doing it for the first time and you have new screws on there, you're going to have to cut these. A lot of people ask me, what's the easiest way to cut them? Well, what I have found the easiest way to do is just grab a hacksaw, right? Any blade for cutting metal. And once you've bolted the toilet down, it's so much better to bolt it down first because otherwise you just really screw up the threads and it's impossible to get that nut started. You saw how hard it was there, and I'd taken that nut off and actually fixed the threads a little bit. So then all you do is you come in here and you just notch where you want the cut to go. And once you're through this piece of brass, because that's all this is just a little brass screw. Once you've notched into it about, I don't know, I'd say 1/4 of the way to 1/8 of the way, you just take a pair of pliers and just start wiggling it back and forth, and then the rest of the bolt will just pop right off. So super simple. All right, then the only thing you have left to do after you put those caps on is secure your water supply line. This one's already been installed. It's just a stainless steel braided line. You're just gonna screw this onto your angle stop, and you're gonna grab your adjustable crescent wrench here. Tighten it up. And turn your angle stop on. So that's it. I know it sounds simple. Maybe it's a struggle for some. I don't know. But you know, in all the years of doing tile, I had to take out thousands of these toilets, and those are just some tips and tricks that I found that made it really easy. So thanks for watching.